Good morning, everyone. I know you cannot see me. Oh, there I am. There I am. Hold on. There you go. So here we are. It is Sunday, and I'm a little scattered. I was running the introduction, and I realized I'm supposed to be able to look at me, and the lens cap was still on. So then I removed the lens cap and I realized I had not even turned the camera on. So it is Sunday Fun Day. So here we are. Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, September 27, the last Sunday of the month. September is gone. And today, as always, we're going to shy away from the news. We're going to be silly and juvenile. No one is safe. Nothing is sacred because September is coming to an end. And that is Coffee and Headlines for today. It is a Sunday, so we are just going to have a little bit of fun. We'll talk about the news tomorrow. We'll figure out what's going on with a magic button, and we'll figure out if we are going to be able to save ourselves from total annihilation tomorrow, but not today. Today, we are going to have some fun. Michael asks, where is Luna? She is out and about. She's a little upset at me because I played hooky all afternoon yesterday and didn't get home till very late, which also means that I haven't published. Shame. I haven't published the show notes from yesterday, but I got almost done with them as we were starting today's broadcast. So the show notes for yesterday, I know that you're all itching to hear the music of Esquivel. I know that you didn't even sleep well thinking about this in anticipation. Of course, that is not true. But seriously, no, Luna is around. Let me very quickly see who's in the house. It's always great to see all of you. If you are new to Coffee and Headlines and you arrive to us on a Sunday, don't be frightened. We're pretty sedate. We really are. And if you are new and you are arriving today, please write the word new in your comments so that we can say hello to you and roast you appropriately. Michael has his subversive coffee in hand. Mine is just plain old coffee today, but I need to go buy some subversive ingredients for it. Let's see who else is here. Paul, who's coming back to Boston, back from Boston, is here. It's great to see you. Mark is watching from Amapas. And how was my hike? My bike, says Dina, and then she says my hike. Well, that's the first thing that I'm going to report on today because it was a beautiful walk. Still looking at your comments to make sure that there are not anything pending. Yes, I will give you the blow by blow. It was a super wonderful afternoon. Renee pokes fun at me, says, did not sleep a wink. I love it. So, if you didn't sleep a wink, you stayed up all night, which means you were desvelada. And desvelada is a very unique kind of word in Spanish, and I will say why in a second. Oh, here's Tommy. I am so glad that Tommy is here, which means that I hope Eric is also here, because they are dear friends that when I first met them, and we decided we would go and check out the Moro Paraíso place, which I love so much. It was them who decided to hike there from Conchas Chinas, and it is thanks to their inspiration that my friend Logan and I decided to go and do the same hike, not from such a long distance, but a little shorter. So in order to tell you about that, I have to put on my geeky, nerdy sun hat that I was wearing yesterday. Don't I look stupid? There you go. So yesterday I went out wearing my hat to go do the hike that we were doing. I'm going to keep it on just because I can. Anyhow, yesterday, oh Lord have mercy. So we met at right at the intersection of Libramiento, which is on the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And what we did is we walked all the way down to Moro Paraíso, which is 3.5 kilometers. It sounds like a lot, but it really wasn't that bad. Let me get myself in show and tell mode. And I think I am. So we met right at that place where there is a Camarón Loco, shrimp little restaurant that is never open, but that's okay. We met right there. And if you've driven past the Libramiento, I'm sure you've seen it. And then we just walked. I mean, the walk took. I mean, according to Google, it was going to take 45 minutes, and we took a little longer just because we were, looking around and looking out whatnot. There's a lot of water coming down the Rio Quale right now. This is one of the many bridges that cross it. This is an older bridge that has been there for a while, and this is a newer bridge, which is designed along the same ways that they have redesigned the bridges that connect Isla Rio Quale with the surrounding communities, either El Centro or Emiliano Zapata. And I understand from my friend Logan that the new bridge that connects Isla Rio Quale with Emiliano Zapata has been already finished. And I haven't checked it out, but this is another similar bridge that is recently constructed. You can see the old structures right next to it on the right hand side in this photo. And then moving right along, if you notice, this is a very bad angle for this photograph, but that stick that you see in the middle of the photograph, ooh, it's hot in here. There you go. That stick that you see in the middle, it's the old pedestrian bridge that would allow you to cross over to Paso Ancho. And I remember when I first arrived in Puerto Vallarta, there is now a beautiful overpass bridge. But when I first came to Vallarta, the only way to get from one side to the other was through that suspension bridge. And if you wanted to drive a car, the current on the river had to be low enough for you to be able to drive it across. So I remember that. And I remember driving from one side to the other when the river was dry. But then I remember having friends that lived on the other side. And if they had an emergency or needed to have an ambulance get to them, you couldn't. The only way to cross over from this neighborhood to Puerto Vallarta, to the other side of Puerto Vallarta, was by walking that bridge. So we are walking along Felipe Angeles Street, which is the main street in Colonia Paso Ancho. And we see all kinds of new bridges that are being built to be able to get from one side to the other of the Quale. Usually when the water is not so high, it's not so problematic. But there is a bunch of these now. And eventually you get to the El Jorullo Ejido, which is, as we've talked about in the past, Ejido is a piece of land that is owned by the community that lives there. People cannot easily come and buy ejido land as private property. It is led by different kinds of laws, as if you're gonna buy a piece of land anywhere else. So it was a fun little hike. Of course, once we were done with the hike, we got to Moro Paraíso and we hung out there for the afternoon and talked to our friend Juan, for whom my friend Logan has been collecting money to feed the horses. I've been helping him out with that campaign. And we got together with our dear friends Joey and Isaac, who own Gay Guide Vallarta. And it was great to have conversations with them because, they are in the business of getting the LGBTQ community connected with our destination. So they deal more with tourists and locals, although there's a lot of locals that get involved in the gay community activity. So we had a great afternoon. We had a great conversation. On the way back, we walked a little bit of the way and then we took cabs. No, that's not true. Our friends Joey and Isaac gave us a ride back to Libramiento. Then Logan went on his way. I went on my way. I had to go to Hotel Mercurio for business. And it was great. I hung out with Paul for a little while. And of course, I'm going to be there this afternoon for the Sunday party at Mercurio, which is not quite as lively as they used to be because, we're all still in transition, getting closer to having better capacity and more people and more comfortableness with people wearing this, that, or the other, or whether you have a face mask on or not, et cetera, et cetera. But there is lively fun at Hotel Mercurio on Sundays and every afternoon for that matter. So I'm going to be there in a little while. And that would be the first part of the three things that I want to share with you. Let me take a quick look at your comments or questions in case I missed anything. Na 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 na. Boom, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Na, 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 na. So Tommy, it was great to be thinking about you guys as we were walking, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful walk. And because it's all flat land, it was very easy to do. In fact, we were supposed to say hello to some friends along the way. We were supposed to call our friends Joey and Isaac along the way because they live along the way, and the four of us were going to walk together. And all of a sudden, Logan and I were so caught up just chit chatting about this, that, and the other that we got all the way to the restaurant and we realized, oh shit, weren't we supposed to stop at their house? We'd missed it altogether. It was really fun. Um, Logan asks, I did business after those margaritas. Well, Logan, we only had two. We only had two margaritas. And yes, I did business. I had to take some photographs of the new Arrayan margaritas that are being sold at Hotel Mercurio because, I take care of their promotion. So yes, I did allude a little bit of business, but I did not stay for dinner. I was feeling a little tired and I was feeling happy enough that I figured this is a good time to stop and go home and be with Luna. And of course, she welcomed me with cranky eyes, but that's just my daughter. Anyhow, let us move on to the next section of what I have prepared for you. And this next section we couldn't have a Sunday without having a little bit of language fun. And I want to start with a series of words. Let me cue this up. Boom. We're ready. Good. I want to show you some words that we have in Spanish that don't exist in English. The only way to describe these things in English is with entire phrases. There isn't a single specific word that is the equivalent of the 7 things that I'm going to show you right now. Number 1. Picture yourself in a wonderful dinner and you finished your dinner at a restaurant, or it could be at somebody's home, but let's just think that it's at a restaurant. So what happens after you're done with dinner? You have dessert and then you pay the check and then you leave. But sometimes when you're having dinner, you hang out and you drink coffee and you continue with the conversation and so forth and so on. So there is no word for that in English. In Spanish, we call it, and I was supposed to see a word appear on my screen and I didn't. Let's see. Bam. There it is. We call it sobremesa, which literally means over table. Isn't that funny? So there's something to be said about enjoying the sobremesa. There are a lot of people that enjoy just sitting around at the dinner table and having a long conversation. There are some people that get fidgety. They cannot really spend a lot of time at the dinner table after dinner, but it's not dessert. It's just hangout time. And in Spanish, that hangout time is called sobremesa. Next, Mexico. Complicated place to say hello because, we have 2 ways to talk to people. We have the casual way in which if I'm referring to you and I know you, I call you tú. And if I'm meeting you for the first time or I have to be respectful, I call you by usted, which is something that doesn't exist in English. A lot of times when you are in a situation in which you are meeting someone for the first time, but you want to have a casual, friendly environment or conversation, you can ask the other person that if you can tutear. And tutear, oops, I'm standing in front of the word. Let me get out of the way. Hold on. Boink. There you go. Tutear is the act of saying to another person, let's address one another by using the word tú instead of usted. So if you were not aware of the fact that there's a difference between tú and usted, you've learned something new. And so tutear somebody is the kind of thing that you would want to do with someone that you don't know, but you want to have a closer relationship with. And we call it tutear. Boom. Next. This is absolutely wonderful because this has to do with using something for the first time. In English, you break something in, but to break something in is more like to mold something. In Spanish, when you wear a new pair of shoes, when you take your new car out for the first drive, when you go shopping for something new, you are estrenando. So the verb estrenar is to wear something or use something for the first time. No English equivalent. Next, Ooh, brr. So, do you have a friend, or are you a friend of someone that is always cold? Well, that person is friolenta or friolento, depending on the gender. If somebody has a tendency to always feel cold, um, no word in English. In Spanish, we call them friolentos. Next one. This is yummy, tasty. And this is interesting because in Spanish, we have lunch and we have dinner, which is cena. And in English, dinner is either dinner or supper. I don't quite understand the difference between one and the other. In my mind, dinner is dinner and supper is just really late. But what happens if you go out for coffee in the afternoon with your friends? And you go out and have a nosh or something. Well, you go out and enjoy a merienda with your friends. So a merienda can be like an afternoon snack with a friend. It can be a light dinner. In fact, at home, when I was growing up, whenever it was time to have dinner, it was, what time is the merienda? Let me stop for a second because Eric is asking for an example. Can I give an example of tutear in a sentence? Let me say, for example, Eric, that I just met you and we shook hands and I say mucho gusto and you say mucho gusto and I find you, nice, charming, and I want to go buy some bread with you. No, I'm just kidding. I want to have a more casual, informal, friendly conversation with you. I would ask the question, ¿nos podemos tutear? Can we address one another with tú instead of usted? Now, if you are a nice person, you are going to say sí, por supuesto, which means yes, of course. Or if you are obnoxious, you might say, well, I don't even know you. Let's save distance instead. And I might say, ooh, whatever. So, nos podemos tutear would be the way in which you would use that expression. And Logan says, ya nos conocimos. Tuteame, cabrón. There you go. It's like when somebody is not feeling very friendly, it's like, just be fucking friendly with me. Anyhow, let me go back to the presentation. This is too much fun. Presentation mode. Boom. There it is. And we were at merienda. Next. This is great because, we know that we get paid on the 15th and on the 30th. So we think about those days as payday. But we also call this the quincena. Now, quincena is a period of 15 days from the word quince, but quincena can also apply to the day in which you get paid, but it can also apply to a measure of time. If somebody can say, nos vemos otra vez, I'll see you again in 2 quincenas. And you would never say that in English, I'll see you in 2 paydays. I don't think, people would refer to it that way. So in Spanish, quincena is either payday or 15 days long, and if the month has 31 days or 29, it would still be considered a quincena. And as long as we're talking about calendar-related things, let's say that today is the 15th. That would mean that yesterday was the 14th, and the 13th in English was the day before yesterday. The day before yesterday. That's 4 words to describe something that in Spanish is called antier. In Spanish, the day before today is called ayer, but the day before yesterday is called antier. And that's something else that there is no English equivalent. This is lovely. When 2 people have, or 2 dogs in this case, have the same name, then they are tocayos. So if I have a friend whose name is Paco, he is my tocayo. And it's also a nice, endearing way to say that you like the other person. Oh, we're tocayos. Of course, if my name was Andres Manuel and I was introduced to the president of Mexico, Andres Manuel López Obrador, needless to say, I wouldn't come over him and go, hey, yo, tocayo. I wouldn't do that because it would be very disrespectful. But 2 people that know each other, or if you meet somebody that on a friendly basis, and that person happens to have the same name as you do, it's perfectly nice to say, hey, tocayo. And if it's a woman, it would be a tocaya. There you go. Next, boom. Now we play the other way around. For these two last examples, I hope you're enjoying this. I had a lot of fun researching it. For these two examples, we're going to go the other way around. We're going to come up with things that we know what the name is in English, and I'm going to tell you what they're called in Spanish, and you are going to go, get the fuck out of there. You mean they call that what? So the first one is a mat. We know that when we frame something, and this actually happened yesterday or the day before, I went with my friend to the framing workshop, and because she wanted to frame something. And of course, when you frame a print, you more often than not want to have a blank strip of cardboard around your print. It's very frequently white or black, but it can be other colors. In English, it's called a mat. In Spanish, it is called a Maria Luisa, which is actually a proper name, Mary Louise. And the reason we believe it is called Maria Luisa is after Mary Louise, the second wife of Napoleon, because there are a lot of portraits of her out there that include a clear frame around the portrait, so it became fashionable to call that a Maria Luisa. So this is one of those instances. And the last one that I have for you in this regard is this. That little thing that those kids are blowing, in English, they're called party horns. You know, we have them at kids' parties, and we have them at New Year's Eve parties, and so forth and so on. Do you know what these are called in Spanish? This ought to make you laugh, I think. In Spanish, they are called espantasuegras, which literally means mother-in-law frighteners, or things designed to frighten mother-in-law. So when you go and have a party, we call them espantasuegras. And that brings us to the end of our fascinating Spanish segment for today. I'm feeling good about myself, so yes, there you go. Let's see what you're commenting. Beam, bam, 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 bam. Let's see, what is everyone's favorite Sunday brunch? That's a great question, because there's so many great places in town to have a Sunday brunch. Although brunch is problematic still for many because of the way it is served. So I find that a lot of people are not brunching at places that where individual people serve their own food. Most people that are doing brunch these days are having servers serve the food. But I digress. Where is my favorite Sunday brunch? I don't think I have a favorite Sunday brunch these days, but I'd love to see where everybody else is brunching. Let's see. I never did say if I remember Senor Book. That wasn't Olas Altas and the owner Beto. I don't remember Senor Book. It's vague in my memory. Maybe I do remember it. Maybe I don't. I really don't think I remember Mr. Book. And yes, those margaritas al Moro Paraíso are big and strong like the men that serve them. Hello. You cannot translate agarra la onda. That's an expression that you cannot translate. And there's a bunch of expressions that are not easy to translate. This is a nice message from Logan, thanking people that have donated. And I know that there are people here in the Coffee and Headlines community that have donated. So please pat yourselves in the back. Please do. Let's see, what else? The difference between supper and dinner is regional. I get that. But then Logan says, only if you're on a budget. I love it. Yes, the banks are very busy on the 15th or the 30th. It's a bad idea to go to the banks on those days. And Carmen has an interesting comment here. Estrenar una película is when a movie is premiered. Absolutely. But you don't premiere shoes. I mean, in English, you would not say, I'm going to premiere my shoes. Absolutely. Yes, Julie Bunker and Julie Guerrero are tocayas, and if they're good friends, they probably call each other that. At least after a couple of tequilas, I'm sure they do. Let's see. There's a lot of tacayos here in Coffee and Headlines. Absolutely. Bam, bidim, bam, 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 boom, bam, bam, bam. Espantasuegra. Yes, I mean, it's like, who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? Okay, so let me, yes, this has been a favorite brunch. Absolutely. Haven't been in a long time, but it used to be spectacular. The last time that I went, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Let's see. I'm glad that you guys enjoy having fun with Spanish. I find languages so incredibly fascinating because languages go so much along or hand in hand with culture, and that is a shameless segue to the next segment that I'm going to show. And this next segment has to do with fried rice and Thai food and Thai cuisine. So, Michael, you haven't missed anything. We are just getting to the Thai segment of the show. I think I need to thank my friend Noi, my dear friend and younger sister, culinary sister Noi, for who usually watches Coffee and Headlines from Bangkok, because it is thanks to her that I discovered this gentleman. Drum roll, gentleman. There we go. This is Nigel Eng, and he is a stand-up comedian from Thailand and a content creator, an online content creator from Thailand living in London. In this photo, he looks kind of dorky, but in a cute way. Check out this other photo that I'm going to show you where he looks a little bit more well put together. I mean, he's kind of like, hello, gorgeous. So he is this comedian. He's been doing stand-up comedy shows here, there, and everywhere. But something happened this summer, something really wonderful. He developed this character called Uncle Roger. And Uncle Roger he even changes his hair and the way he speaks. Uncle Roger is this character that reacts to YouTube videos. For example, if somebody does a performance, there's a lot of fun reaction videos out there. Like, for example, maybe you are a vocal coach and you're reacting to hearing a singer sing something. So those are reaction videos. In this case, his character, Uncle Roger is the name of the character, is a traditional, typical, in his 30s, 40s cook that reacts to the way in which other people are cooking traditional food. Let me give you a little taste of this, and I'm going to give you a little taste because I don't want YouTube getting on my case for playing this for you. I'm going to give you the page, the URL so that you can check it out on your own. But let's take a quick look at this.
Drain it.
Drain? What's she doing? What's she doing? Drain the... Oh my God! You're killing me, woman!
So, so he does all these like over the top reaction at how people that are not Asian are attempting to cook Asian food. So he first went at a cooking chef from the BBC, and then he went at a couple of other famous cooks that were cooking fried rice here, there, and everywhere. And he became extremely successful with this character, Uncle Roger. So, but not everybody liked him. Not everybody liked him. There were some people that were like, how dare this guy, be arguing against the BBC presenters, blah, 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 blah. So he teamed out with... oh, yes. Joe Willis comments, sounds like Gordon Ramsay is doing as well. Yes, well, actually, Nigel or Uncle Roger is reacting in one of his videos to Gordon Ramsay cooking fried rice. Of course, he's cooking it in a very European way or questionably authentic way. So anyhow, this whole thing is absolutely funny because, when Nigel Eng started creating the character, one of the first things he wanted to do is go actually meet the chef from the BBC that he was making fun of. And they started collaborating and started creating their own parody priority videos together. So he became really popular. He created work opportunity for himself. He became successful through it, and he empowered other chefs and other people to also become popular. So I'm going to leave the YouTube videos for you to enjoy because it is absolutely funny, particularly if you enjoy eating. And I think we've identified that one of our favorite sports here at Coffee and Headlines is to eat. And with that thought in mind, I'm getting a little hungry. Maybe breakfast would be a good thing to have now. So I'm going to very quickly thank you for joining us on this Sunday Fundy edition. I hope it was lively. I hope you laughed a little bit. I hope you forgot a little bit about the news and all the things that we focus on between Monday and Saturday. If that is the case, please keep us in mind for the rest of the day. And I will see you again tomorrow, as always, with the latest updates about COVID-19 here in the state of Jalisco. Between now and then, stay happy, stay healthy, stay laughing, stay kind, and stay in touch. Have a great day.